Hey everybody, I'm so excited to get another wonderful, amazing interview. Trying to track down this boss lady. She's always on the move around the country, making waves, definitely selling out arenas for sure. And just a wonderful person, so much grace, so much class. And I need the Morgan State University. I need all the Bears to stand up right now, the whole DMV, the very own. She's the official DJ for the Washington Mystics and the Washington Wizards. So nothing other than our own Miss DJ Heat. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, yes. I don't want to steal your story. So can you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Oh man, you did a great, intro right there. DJ Heat, DC girl, born and raised from Southeast, Southeast. You know how we say it with the F. Ain't no T or no H in Southeast. We say it with F. Just like when Merlin, ain't no, all that other stuff. We say Murrland. We say it Merlin. So yeah, man, DC girl, born and raised, doing my thing. Been DJing since I was a kid, and still enjoying it. Still, living life. Excited to do great things like DJ for the Wizards, DJ for the Mystics. Do a lot of great events around the area and whatnot, around the country, around the world.
Well, I'm putting it out there for you. I don't know where they've been at, but I'm putting it already out there for you. I already see you there. So let's talk about your recent cover. Being on the cover. Is it Cash's? Is that
Cash's magazine, man?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Oh man, that's so wonderful. That's so great. It just dropped today. Cash's magazine is a men's lifestyle magazine. Same company that does Black Planet, Hello Beautiful, Boss Up, Hip Hop Wired, great, Black entertainment platforms out there. So, shout out to the writer of the article, DL Chandler. He reached out to me about it. He let me know, they're about to do this HBCU cover, and he has suggested me as one of the people. So it feels great. It's an honor to be, not only representing my alma mater, Morgan State University, but, being the only woman on the cover, so representing for the ladies and represent for Morgan at the same time. It's been great reception. Shout out to a great brand, Shop Legacy, History, and Pride. The brand, so that's the jackets we were wearing on the cover. It was the Shop Legacy, History, and Pride brand. And it's from a young man, shout out Mr. Legacy. He's a graduate of Howard University. And one thing that surprised all of us at the shoot was that he just graduated from college last year. But his brand has been making waves for quite a while. Like, I remember buying stuff from his brand, I believe like in 2018. So he had these dope basketball shorts that he came out with at different colleges. Of course, I bought the Morgan State University shorts. So to know, like, man, he started this brand when he was just in college, and it's being worn by celebrities, and he has big collabs like with Nike and different, professional sports teams. So, that's a big thing right there. And shout out to, everybody else that's on the cover, Darren Brand from Wild and Out. Shout out to Mr. Wiggins. So it was really dope experience.
Yeah, that's a really dope jacket. I love the magazine. I love the words of encouragement. So you guys make sure you guys support and definitely go get the magazine and repost it and share with your friends as well. So how do you, I'm curious to know, I'm sure people hit you up all the time, want favors or want you to do stuff. How do you choose now that you've, been in the industry for a while, like who to work with and who not? And what can people do if they say, I want to work with DJ Heat? Mm-hmm. What are some pointers you can give them?
Pointers, like, it's just, simply reach out to me. I'm a lot of people think I might have a manager, this and that. Like, I handle everything myself. So when you reach out, through an email, you're going to be talking to me directly, and just have it all laid out front. Like, hey, this is what we're trying to do, blah, blah, blah. I'm a real honest person. If I feel like, I can't do it or it's not the fit for me, I'm real big on suggesting, the DJ colleagues or somebody else that could be a better fit. I'm never going to be like the type of gatekeeper that's going to hold back opportunities. I'm always spreading the opportunities about. It's been a few things, this week. And it was just a short week still, but you know how it is on Mondays, everybody's sending out the emails and whatnot. So if I say, if I'm not available for this event or if I'm not the fit, I'm like, hey, how about I know someone that would be great for this event. Reach out to them, blah, 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 blah. Here's their information, here's their contact, they're wonderful people, whatnot. So, it's simple. It's not as hard to get in touch with me as a lot of people think. I just say, if you're doing it in the DM, it could get lost sometimes, because you gotta think like a day like today with the cover coming out. So you can imagine I'm getting a lot of things in my DM of somebody, just reacting to the cover. So like something could get pretty lost. I'm like, yo, if you send an email, is it right? I can see it. My emails are not going to get too lost. I give you my booking email is just that, is booking, so I can see it.
Now let's talk about your vision in the beginning. When you first started DJing, did you have a timeline? I know in one of the covers I read, as far as not putting a timing on yourself, like did you have a timeline of where you saw yourself now, or did it just like kind of evolve?
Nah, I never put a timeline on myself. I just know that, these are my goals. I'm going to accomplish them, but I've never set a timeline on myself, because it can become stressful and strenuous if you try to do that. Like, yeah, of course you don't want something to take, like 20, 30 years for something as simple as like, okay, I want to DJ here, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But if you just you have that passion, you have that consistency, you have that dedication, I feel like it's going to match. Energy matches energy. You put that energy out there, what you want to do, what you're going to accomplish. If you actually do the work, you focus, stay in your own lane. Don't compare yourself to others and what you think their journey is. And if you think they're accomplishing more than you are, and you wondering, how come, they're doing this? How come, comparison is the thief of joy. Never compare yourself. Never compare your journey to someone else's journey, because especially now in the digital age, we're only putting out the good. Social media is highlights. It's rare for anyone to post their low lights of what they're going through. So don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just focus on yourself, your own journey, and your own goal, and don't limit yourself at all. Like if you feel yourself getting close to something, don't worry about saying like, oh, I gotta have this in 5 years. If not, I'm going to quit. Like whatever may happen in 6 or 7 years. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, never. It's good to have those plans, yeah. But if it don't happen, and if it's still in your heart to do it, just keep working towards it.
So let's talk about professionalism. One of the things that when I first, my family's in the business, of course, but one of the things I remember, I don't know how people feel about Karen Civil, but when I met her years ago, she was telling me, you want to be more than just a face. And I think a lot of young people, they see these interviews, they see some of these celebrities, and they kind of want to mix business with fun. So can you talk about the professionalism and kind of like what you learn, and kind of like the advice you give to someone who wants to be in entertainment, especially as a woman, how important that is?
Professionalism is very, very important. Like, for instance, with me as a DJ, of course, with how I got my start in the area here in DC, I did with a lot of people, a lot of rappers. And rappers, they have their swag about them, they have their way they talk and whatnot. Like, yeah, nah, nah, nah. You still like, there's nothing wrong with being yourself, but you just got to know how to come correct instead of just coming up like, yeah, I sent you something, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, hey, allow me to introduce myself. I'm such and such, blah, 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 blah. I was wondering, how we call it like the elevator pitch, right? We learn about this in business. Like, you got to have that elevator pitch where you could get it all out with probably like 30 seconds or less, like the time it may spend when you on the elevator with someone to get it all out. Just have it ready. Just be on point, know how to approach people not only in person, but even through emails as well. Because again, we're in a digital era where it's simple to, you know, get somebody's email and send them the email. It's even simple to go in somebody's DMs and send them a DM. So one thing I come across is people would send me DMs and would just send me a link and won't introduce themselves or say anything. I'm like, what I'm supposed to do? Right. Like, so one thing that can correct, say, like, I could give an example. This past week, I was at the DC Music Summit on one of the panels. Shout out to Dior Ashley Brown. So a gentleman came up to me. His name is Joe. He said, I sent you a song before that I think would be great to play in arenas. He was like, it's already playing with such and such. This DJ is playing it at different sporting events. I was like, if you send it to DM, I'll probably didn't get it. I'm like, how about this? Like, here's my email. Send it to me in an email. You know, I'm more likely to see it. Again, DMs can get very, very flooded. So he sent the email. It was a very professional email. And again, he introduced, you know, especially when the follow-up is very important as well. You could meet someone and, you know, we meeting so many different people. If you say that follow-up, like, hey, I'm such and such. I met you here. Here's the song I was talking about. I think it would be great to play at games. It has energy, blah, blah, blah. And I listened to it and it was a good song. And I replied back to him. I was like, yeah, I would play this song at games. I would be sure I would tag you on my IG when I play the song, because I know, you know, artists, they love that. Like, oh man, it's being played here. Like, cool. Like, she played my song. So that's all. Just keep it professional, even just that way with your approach.
So I gotta ask you a semi-hard question. Okay. Everybody can't DJ, as you know. Mm-hmm. And how are you able to read a crowd?
How are you able to read a crowd?
Right.
You could just feel their energy. You could see their energy. You could see how they're reacting. You can see their facial expressions, because, you know, we all know how people going to react if you're playing something that they love. You know, the women gonna be like, oh, that's my song. You know, the fellas gonna like do their little thing like this, turn up. You know, you're gonna see them gravitating towards the floor and this and that. Or even if there's an event where, you know, say like an event I did yesterday where there's no dance floor, it's more like walk-in music to get people ready for the event. You know, everybody's getting seated, it's in the auditorium, but you can still see their reactions. Like, if they bopping along in a chair, like they want to get up and start dancing, or even if they're dancing down the aisle on the way to their seat. Yeah. And same thing if you're playing a song that they don't like. Listen, those facial expressions, right, where you play something they don't like, or just, you know, you probably went too far left and you thought something would work, they would just look like, it was like, ooh. Like you feel that, like, oh, okay, won't do that again. I'm like, all right, let me try to bring them back in. Or, you know, they right. Like, girl, let's just go to the bar. Or they might just start whispering, like, what the heck was that? Like, seen it all. We all go through it. You know, you can't dwell on it. You can't let it psych you out. You just, you know, like, noted, that ain't work. Let me get them, reel them back in.
But you never like experienced? Have you experienced like getting booed in the beginning?
Oh no!
Oh wow! I mean, I don't know. I'm not a DJ, so I don't know. Is that because I know entertainers sometimes and comedians go through that, so I didn't know if is it the same thing with DJs or
nah.
She's like, nah, not me. I'm not one of those.
well, no, because it's more. It's not getting booed per se, but the DJ version of getting booed is like when the whole floor clears out.
Right, that's true.
Especially you know, if they're in a zone and you can tell these people want to keep on dancing, and then when they clear the floor, it's like, yeah, that's the DJ equivalent of getting booed, is when the dance floor clears. But like literally booed, like, oh my gosh, how will I handle that?
You probably take the whole equipment out, like, man, he yanked my everything.
I don't know. Like, the only thing, like, one thing I experienced recently And I thought it was funny. I actually was like laughing when it happened to me. So Beyonce's Renaissance album is the big album right now. We could play the whole album all the way through at certain events. So I remember seeing online that there was a DJ at a skating rink, and it was some Beyonce fans that really wanted to hear Renaissance, like anything from Renaissance, so they could skate to it. So all of them was like standing in front of the DJ booth, like holding up their phone, like holding up the Renaissance cover, trying to tell the DJ like that was their sign to play Renaissance.
Yeah.
So I DJ'd at the National Gallery of Art. And these people, they was over dancing with me for a while. So, kind of had like a little rapport with them because they were over there enjoying themselves. And then they all held up their phones with the Renaissance album.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness.
And like, if I hadn't seen that viral clip probably like a few days before, I probably would have no clue what was happening. But I saw that viral clip of the Beyonce fans at the skating rink doing the same thing. Like, I found it funny.
Yeah.
I immediately did start playing some Beyonce songs.
You caught the memo.
Oh my God. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. It was funny.
Oh man. Why do you think, as a people, especially in the DMV, it seems like you're not scared to put people on? Like, why do you think people are so scared to do that?
I think because, again, like, nobody ever wants that feeling of the dance floor clearing or getting those reactions. So you tend to go with what's safe. But if you're a DJ where you've already established your name and your brand, you could branch out and do that. And there are also DJs where that is their brand. You're going to go to this venue and listen to this DJ because they're going to play some stuff that you never heard before, but you're going to like it because you're like, oh man, like, what is this? Like, I'm liking it. It fits the groove. So that's one thing that I do love about DC, because it's so many diverse DJs. It's so many different diverse venues now. I know people tend to think about, like the club culture as far as like turning up, popping bottles, listening to trap music, but that's not the case at all. There are so many different venues and so many different parties and so many different other promoters in the city that, fill that void. Like, if you don't want to do the popping bottles, being in VIP type of thing, well, we also have the parties where it feels like a house party, where you don't got to get all cutesy and dolled up. You just come as you are and just sweat out and have a good time. There are no bottles to pop and nothing. We're just having a good old time. So that's the great thing about being here.
So I want to know, why did you choose Morgan State and why an HBCU?
Okay. Why did I choose Morgan State and why HBCU? I'm gonna be honest about why I chose Morgan State, and it ties into why HBCU. Every college that I applied to was a HBCU. It was already set in my heart since probably like junior high, early high school, that I was going to go to a HBCU. And we got a shout out to A Different World. That TV show, it showed us HBCU culture. It brought it to our living rooms every Thursday night and to see, and it made everybody, I think, from my generation that was growing up watching it, like, yo, I want to go to an HBCU. I want to go to Hillman, till we find out Hillman wasn't a real college. I remember having a guide with all the HBCUs listed. I was like, why Hillman isn't in this? I'm like, is Hampton really Hillman? It's like, is that what it is? Because, if you watch the show, you kind of try to figure out what area they was in. I was like, well, I think from watching the show, I feel like they are in Virginia. So maybe Hillman is really Hampton. So yeah, that's what it was. I knew like that I was going to go to a HBCU. So I applied to Morgan State. I applied to Savannah State University, Morris Brown College, and Clark Atlanta University. And one thing that you would notice is like every school that I applied to was in Georgia. Except for Morgan, because around that time as well, that's when Atlanta was having the big music boom, where, you know, Atlanta was establishing itself as Hot Atlanta. You know, you had, you know, the Face records, you had So Def records. You know, I was a huge TLC fan. I got the TLC record behind me, you know, huge, you know, Crisscross fan, like huge the Face record. I was like, man, Atlanta is the hot spot right now. But some things come into play, and that is called money.
Right.
And financial aid. So Morgan ended up becoming my choice. And, you know, Morgan chose me. I could say that. You know, the universe made it destined that, you know, no, you're going to go here to Morgan State University. You know, not only did they offer the best financial aid package for me, but it became the best fit for me, period. You know, everything works out the way it should be. You know, I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. You know, the universe makes these things happen. What you thought is for you, there is something better for you. And it turned out, you know, Morgan was that better choice. You know, if I look back, I probably wouldn't, you know, me, the kid that I was, as naive as I probably, listen, Atlanta probably would have ate me alive. I probably would have, you know, made it through. I probably would have been hanging out, trying to do this and that. But Morgan State was the right fit for me. And I'm so glad that's what the universe had destined for me, because it all worked out.
Now, with it being homecoming, we talk about the importance of giving back, especially financially. I feel like we don't do that enough. Everybody, you know, got the colors on and popping the bottles and hey, taking flicks, but nobody really talks about, you know, having that same energy when it comes to financially giving back and then mentoring people and actually pouring back into your school.
Yeah, it's definitely important to give back, because as we see, you know, there are things happen government wise when it comes to financial cuts. You know, they don't want to fund colleges, especially HBCUs, as much as they want to. You hear about other HBCUs across the country that go through it. And I was like, man, you know, we have to keep our legacy going. We have to give back. We have to grow and expand for these next generations. You know, a lot of colleges, they see they enrollment continue to grow and grow and grow. And what happens when you have growth that rapidly? You know, resources. So we got to do the best that we can for the resources. You know, supply, give back. Even if you just, you know, when they send the letters out of the mail, even if it's just $25, you know, when they call your phone, even they say, hey, give what you can. They really mean give what you can. And don't think that your small donations do not help at all. They do. You know, if you want to give to, you know, your department, you know, your alumni association, to this in general, to, you know, athletics, you know, because, you know, we have so many different types of athletics across the board. I know a lot of people think of, like, you know, we think of football, we think of basketball, but we also have to make sure, you know, our volleyball teams are doing great. You know, our track teams are doing great with this and that. So we could all be super proud when we come back for homecoming. And, you know, it feels good when you go back on campus. It's like, yeah, my contribution helped get this. Like, yeah, look at that new building right there. I can say, like, you know, even if, you know, a lot of campuses, you know, you get your brick put down with your name on it, you can say, yeah, like, I helped repay. Look at that brick with my name on it right there.
One of the questions I want to ask you, one of the listeners asked me, you know, I guess they're part of the LGBTQ plus community. So, and I know you celebrate Pride and things like that. So how do you deal with people who are against, you know, how you live your life, and does it bother you? And how can people, like people that are still struggling with their family and friends or job accepting them, like how can they kind of get over that hurdle?
Oh man, I'll address the family and friends with anybody that's dealing with that first. I know that's a tough one right there, when, you know, when you're openly gay and your family and friends are not accepting of who you are. you know, a lot of people like to call it a lifestyle, but it's like it's who you are as a person. It's not just it's your life. It is who you are as a person. That's why it's always great to try to have mentors, those confidence that you can reach out to. I had no problem if there are any young people, or it could be even people my age that's going through things that just need an ear to talk to. I tell people, listen, just message me, reach out. I'm here for everybody, because I know it could be very, very tough. Like, I witnessed it. I'm blessed that my family did accept me when I came out. So that's why I have a sentiment in my heart when I see LGBT, gay, lesbian, trans, but any, and their family doesn't accept them. Because I can't imagine, like, especially like your own parents. Like, I've you know, had people where they own, like, you want to love, like, this person brought you into the world, and that's supposed to be the most unconditional love right there.
That's true.
And to not have that, it's like, wow. So to, you know, start that family on your own, you know, friends could be family, you know, mentors, anybody could be family right there. With me personally, it coming up, it was some things that I experienced, you know, some crazy things, because not only me being a gay woman, but being a masked gay woman as well. You know, some people want to assume, like, oh, you know, you want to be a dude, or, you know, you acting like a dude. Like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. I'm still a woman. You know,
Right.
still respect me and treat me as such. Don't, you know, don't try to demean who I am just because of how I look and how I dress. Like, still respect me not only as a woman, but as a human being, as a person, period. Over time, as people saw, like, okay, this is heat, this is unapologetically who she is, you know, it became more accepted. And again, I am aware that it is rare for me, what I go through as a gay woman, because there are mass gay women that experience lots and lots of rough time and discrimination. There are just gay women, period. Just everybody underneath the LGBTQ plus, they go through a lot. So I know I am a rarity. So I can't really compare myself to other people's experiences, because I'm like, man, like, you know, I have it quote unquote easy compared to stories I hear from others in the community. But I always want to be here for everybody to help them get through.
That was great. Thanks for sharing.
Thank
So
you.
what's the difference between, you know, now you're DJing in an arena, you know, what's the difference between, you know, being, you actually DJ'd at my school, George Mason University. Shout out to all the Patriots.
Yeah.
Did my homework.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's the difference between a school, an arena, and of course, you know, you're managing your business, handling your affairs. How are you able to successfully execute all of that?
Oh man, it just how I execute all of that, you know, Google Calendar keeps me in check. I can say it. Shout out to Google Calendar. That's like, I know I said to have a manager. My manager is Google Calendar. If I didn't have everything inputted as soon as I get note, like, what? Yes, okay. Let me add it to my calendar now. And then if I see it repetitively every time I open up my calendar, I know I'm gonna have it doing. The differences of being in an arena, what is compared to, you know, probably like DJing clubs and parties and whatnot. What a lot of people don't realize when it comes to DJing sports is you really gotta pay attention to the game and the action, and you're really reacting off of that, and also controlling some of the energy for the fans. Like, for instance, if it's 5 seconds left in the game, the score is tied, there's a timeout right now, but after this timeout, we get the ball and we have a chance to win the game with this 3-pointer, what you gonna play right there? Say, you know, another situation like, all right, is this, you know, the team's about to call a timeout. This a big play just happened. The opposing team calls a timeout because, you know, we're on a run. What you gonna play with that? On the flip side, all right, doesn't look like our home team is going to win the game. We still got all these timeouts left. What you going to play to keep the fans engaged with that as well? And even with me playing at, you know, when I did George Mason basketball last season, you know, you got to just like, all right, this is a college crowd. So there may be some songs that, you know, I play for, you know, Wizards and Mystics, but this is a younger crowd. So you definitely want to mix in the younger music and the stuff that they know. At the same time, you want to appease the, you know, the alumni that's in there and all that. So it's so many different scenarios to doing an arena and doing the sports that I don't think anyone ever realizes. You just got to really, really be on point. You know, it helps when you understand the sport. So, you know, I've always been a fan of basketball coming up. So I've already understood the sport. So it's now getting a deeper understanding of the sport. Like, all right, for this situation, you're going to do this. And this situation, you're going to do that. Like, all right, this is happening right now. All right, there's a review going on. All right, there's infection control going on. They got to wipe up, like, all those different types of scenarios going on.
Now, we all know the famous Fat Joe quote, yesterday's price is not today's price. So for DJ Heat, how do you, you know, as a woman and different hats that you wear, how do you stay firm on your price and then show people the value in that and kind of like not defer from that? You got to be real strong to stand on your price and, you know.
Yeah. I've had like situations like that, you know, and most people, you know, they respect the price, they understand what they're getting. I'm lucky to be at a phase in my career where a lot of my business comes from me being referred by other brands, or, you know, somebody was there in an event that, you know, I was DJing and like, oh man, we have to get there. But, you know, for instance, I had a situation where they were trying to say a price, and you know, I gave them my price, and then it was a lot of back and forth. I could tell. I was like, no, I can't do this, because I'm like, okay, this is what I'm supplying.
Yeah.
With this, it's like I understand, but I have to be true to myself. Like, you gotta, you know, the phrase is know your worth. You know, just know your worth. And, you know, I'm not saying like I had no problem, you know, negotiating with people. They might say, oh, okay, we have this budget instead.
Right.
You know, like an event. It was a great event that I did yesterday evening. You know, I gave them my price, and it was like, and then when they went back, it was like, okay, we have this budget instead. I was like, okay, I could work with that, with her, right? Because, you know, with everything. But if you come back, I'm like
70% off.
I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? I'm like, and then again, I'm the type, I'm always going to try to make a suggestion as well. Like, all right, if this, but I don't want to, even in those situations, I don't even want to try to suggest that a colleague is lower and have them lowballed, because I don't know, when I recommend other DJs, I don't know their rates. So I don't even want to offend no one else and be like, yo, I'm not even going to pass this gig on to them, because if I find this offensive, if it's like way too, I'm like, I'm not going to put this thing. I'm like, hey, get your mans and just start now or whatnot. And I'm always like, you know, maybe we could work together in the future if it permits. You know, there it is.
Now, I want you to talk about the importance, especially with these young people. You know, you heard about the silent quitting. I'm sure you heard about that. The importance of, I guess, leaving a situation with grace, you know, as much as you can. I know I've been in business situations where you want to like cuss people out and, you know, tell people your real feelings, but you still have to maintain your composure, especially when you get older. And can you tell the young people how important that is? And that stuff actually follows you.
Yeah, it's very, very important. No matter how you feel, you really want to cuss somebody out, especially in the entertainment industry. You because you never know. You end up crossing paths with people down the line again and again and again. Like that person that's working at the place now, when you cuss them out, they could be working at somewhere else, like even 3 months down the line. That's a brand that you probably want to be aligned with, but they're gonna remember, like, you cussed me out while I was here at this other place. Like it's a very small industry in the music industry, and even in the sports industry. I've learned that the sports industry is even smaller than the music industry. So why am I going to offend somebody? Because you never know. They could like move up high in the ranks. Like I've seen it myself. Like I've seen people that you may consider the quote unquote the low person on the totem pole, and next thing you know, like, oh, you the what of what? Like, yo, it's one guy that I know. He's like the CEO of a big record label now, and I knew him when he was just just on the promo team and there's other people like that. So that's why it's great to treat everyone equally and to treat everyone with respect. Like they say, you want to treat the janitor with the same respect as you would treat the CEO of a company, because you don't know what that janitor got popping on. Who knows what they doing on their free time?
That's
They
true.
they probably gonna have like the next Amazon, and they're gonna reach out, they're gonna remember that kindness and whatnot, and be like, hey, I remember when I was out here just mopping floors, you always spoke to me while everybody ignored me and this, and now look at me like I want you to come along. Like you have no clue. Like it literally happens all the time, whereas people I've talked to like, wow, you doing what now? And the same thing with me. I'm testimony of that. Like, who knows, when I was like just DJing showcases and open mics, who knew I would be doing what I'm doing now? Nobody knew that. So just have that same respect for everybody. Do not burn the bridges.
And I'm sure you remember those who weren't as nice to you back in the day when you were kind of climbing.
Right, like,
up.
Oh, now you want to,
yeah. Nobody forgets. As much people say, "Oh, forgive," people don't forget how
they don't. Yeah. Like, who said that? Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
People always gonna remember how you made them feel.
That's so true. Last two questions. I want to commend you for, I guess, doing the partnership with USA Fibroid Center. I think a lot of women don't kind of like men. We need to stay on top of our health.
Yeah.
What made you do that and bring light to fibroid, because it can be serious, a serious thing.
Yeah, it's for me. So about to go on a year now. Last November, I had a hysterectomy, because not only was I dealing with the pain of fibroids for so many years, I also had another condition called endometriosis. And not only did I have endometriosis, I've had cysts removed over the years. Not only have I had cysts removed over the years, I learned last year while going through the process, before having my hysterectomy, that my uterus was also tilted. So I was going through, I've always went through pain ever since I was a kid and my cycle first started, and things just started getting worse and worse over the years, where it's affecting my quality of life, where it's hard for me to even just try to DJ. And it was always difficult all through my adult life trying to do simple things, but it was getting worse and worse. I was like, yo, I can't bear with this anymore. I had a conversation with my gynecologist. Actually, I went out searching for different gynecologists and whatnot to help me. The one I wanted to go to, she was just so booked up, and because she's like one of the top doctors in the area that deals with fibroids. Wow. So they referred me to someone else in the same practice, and he's great. Shout out to Dr. Alawodi. He's an amazing doctor. He's funny. He's like the kindest, funniest. He feels like an uncle to me. Just, you know, how do we talk about doctor's bedside manner? He just has the warmest bedside manner. You know, this is all going on during the pandemic. So I'm wearing my mask. He always come in the room like, take your mask down. Let me see you smile. I want to see. He is so sweet. So yeah, and we had that conversation. Like the top conversation was, of course, like, you know, do I want to have children? I was like, no, I don't plan on having children. He was like, okay, we could do this hysterectomy. And I want to make clear that I know every woman does not have that option, because there are women that want to have children. There are women that don't want to have a hysterectomy, which is, you know, where USA Fibroid Center come into play. You know, they have, you know, alternative procedures where it doesn't have to be a hysterectomy. So I'm very, you know, thankful for them that they offer that for women. I have a friend that she went through one of those procedures where, you know, simple, don't have to do a whole bunch of stuff like I went through, because even up to the last moment, I still went through things. Even with my surgery, it was only supposed to be like, I think the laparoscopic surgery was going to be like 3 small incisions. Mm-hmm. But once they started that, they realized my uterus was too large. Mm. So they had to do the type of hysterectomy where they cut across me like a C-section. And they also had to remove my appendix as well, which I was aware of. They told me that there's a chance that, you know, there's a chance if your uterus is in the way, the appendix is in the way, we're going to take that out so we get to the uterus. So
right,
it was a lot mm-hmm. that happened. So my recovery time went from originally, you know, if I would have had just that simple surgery, it would have only been 2 weeks, to me taking almost like about 6 weeks of recovery. But I'm always going to be vocal about it, because I know, you know, when it comes like 80% of Black women deal with fibroids. Yeah, that's a big number. Mm-hmm.
Myself included. So
80%.
Yeah,
of women. And talking about stuff like that with anything with our reproductive health, it's always been taboo. Mm-hmm. It's like we always ashamed to talk about. Oh no, we don't. We have to.
Yeah,
because there's so many of us going through it. Like the amount of people that reached out to me telling me they're going through fibroids or they're going through endometriosis. And like, even with my aunt finding out her friends, my aunt is like 82 years old. Mm. And when she's telling her friends, like, yeah, you know, she's about to have her surgery, they sharing their stories. And she didn't even know. As seniors, she didn't know her senior friends went through the same thing. Because again, it was like such a taboo thing to talk about. Yeah. But it's women out here losing lives. You know, there are women so bad, like they gotta have blood transfusions. Like you have to talk about this. Like I had other side effects as well. What I was going through, you know, I was anemic. I remember going to the emergency room because you know my blood cells was so low and whatnot. I've passed out. Wow. Through things. Like it's been a lot. So this is something we cannot be ashamed to talk about. And again, with me, you know, we see women talk about it. And I know another thing with me, you don't see many gay masked women talk about it. Again, just because I look like this, I'm still a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still dealing with these things. So it's taboo for women to talk about this subject. It feels like it's even more taboo for masked women to talk about it. Because there are some of us that like to have that, you know, that face we put on like we tough and whatnot. This is your health. Yeah. Forget trying to be tough. Forget trying to have an image. This is your life.
Yeah.
So let's speak about it and don't be afraid and reach out to one another and just be, we all sisters at the end of the day.
Wow. Thank you for that. How do you feel as we about to close out? So I saw someone made a comment on one of your posts saying that you got more jobs than Nick Cannon, Steve Harvey, and Michael Strahan. Like, So, and I'm hearing these stories, and that's all I could think about. I'm like, okay, so how does somebody like? I don't know. Please tell us that, and then what upcoming events and things that you have going on as well. So.
That is so funny right there. When I can't remember who said it either, but I was cracking up laughing at it as well. But I think you can probably relate as us as creatives, our brains are always going. Yeah. And I'm like, at least you're gonna try, you're gonna do it. If it's in my schedule to do it, why not? If I had the means to do it, let's do it. Like I say that as well. Like there's room on the schedule, if there's an event, there's a brand that reaches out to me and I really want to be a part of it, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I'm all in. That's I gotta keep going while the iron is hot, man. Keep striking while the iron is hot. I gotta enjoy all this. Next things coming up for me, Wizard season kicking off. Their home opener is this Friday. Something special is gonna get revealed during that game that I'm happy I was a part of it. So I can't wait to share that. Like I'm just so excited. Like and I hope the fans are receptive to it as well. And I mentioned this in the Cashers magazine article that I'm gonna start doing interviews again myself and doing a podcast. And what thank you. Yeah, because people still approach me from when I used to do interviews when I had my website, but I know like the podcast realm, people may think it's flooded, but it's flooded with a lot of BS. I'm glad to have quality platforms.
I was about to say something. Like, listen. Well, hopefully you enjoyed yourself today.
I did. This is quality. How many more platforms we need to argue about dating and everybody's drinking and smoking hookah and all that. Like we have the big ones that do that well. Like everybody don't have to do that. Y'all all yelling about relationships and this and that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like bruh. So yeah. That's gonna kick back off next month.
Okay. Yeah. Well, congrats. Are you doing any are you doing any like DJ like online courses, or are you planning to do?
No, I get asked that a lot about teaching courses. I say I'm a bad teacher as far as like try to. I commend teachers.
Or ebook.
Maybe like a book, or maybe I could break something down into, TikTok is my thing. Maybe I could break something down into TikTok form, giving little tips here and there. But as far as like teaching 101, the way my brain is, it's hard for me to break down things into, like course level. Like I commend every DJ that could do that. Like shout out to my mentor, DJ RBI. He was my mentor when I was younger, and he actually still teaches young people how to DJ through the Words, Beats, and Life program. So that's great how, I've watched him teach the class and how, they break things down. I got a homegirl in Vegas, DJ Kelly J. I believe she actually teaches at UNLV. So she actually got an official course at a college campus. And for her, like, again, I'll commend them for being able to break that down into course level. To do things like this, I'm like, man, I wouldn't even know where to start. I'd probably be like, man, y'all just like, oh man, but I forgot to tell you how to do this, but then I gotta tell you, no, I'm brave, but maybe I could break down some tips here and there, and maybe like TikTok form, give folks some some 60-second suggestions.
Okay, I like that.
Appreciate it.
So, can you tell the world what they can find and connect with you at?
Yeah, it's real simple to find me. On Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, DJ Heat DC, and my website, djheatdc.com.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time today. I think it's the one thing we could never get back, and I definitely don't take it for granted. I'm sure the listeners got a lot of value, laughs, and wisdom and advice.
Yeah, man.
And especially work ethic. You are the poster child of those uses. Get it done.
Get it done, man. Get it done. Let's still make time for yourself. Listen, people think like you work. Oh, listen, I get these naps in. I get this sleep in. Like You might see me post something and I take a nap as soon as I post it.
Okay. Well, thank you again. We'll definitely keep in touch. Like I said, let me know when your podcast come out so we can share that information as well on the site so people can check it out.
Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you.
All right.